years. I just think Daniel's just too good. So the 2v2 might be a spot where HEET can win. But I do think in threes, it should be Space Station. I mean, they're coming off a great performance at the last LAN. They have their full roster here. Clearly, they're taking this very seriously. And I would be shocked if HEET came out on top here in a threes match.
Yeah, I've gotten the chance to sit and talk with Chrome quite a bit lately. One of my favorite coaches actually in the space of Rocket League, and a lot of insight of him talks about the performance of their team really comes down to, you know, their mentality. How are they practicing? How are they feeling? And as long as they're in a good mental, you know, they are a team that I consider one of the best on LAN. Like they are to me, when we talk about LAN teams, one that I feel confidently about in their performance, because it does help with that mental, right? Like crowds behind you, everybody's cheering for Daniel and calling him Laniel. Like it's hard not to feel a certain way. So I think Space Station on LAN is always a team that you need to respect well, and even if it's in a more unique format, they'll probably be able to play into it even more.
Well, and I think too for Space Station, they're a team that even if the result doesn't show it, I think individually they just play better. As Arsenal puts away a beautiful double tap. I mean, these are the types of plays that you look for from Space Station, and that's a great second touch and effort there from Arsenal, especially to put this one behind Parka as well, because Parka had that one pretty well read, just a little late there, and for Arsenal to put that behind him solidifies that goal, and an early go-ahead goal here for Space Station.
Yeah, definitely want to be wary of, especially if he starts popping off in threes. We saw what he did to some of those other teams back in winter, where he single-handedly 1v3'd what it felt like 2 series. Either way, a lot of threat on Space Station, and no different here as they move up on offense. Good cut from Riddle. Should have another touch over the top. Can he make it a double touch? It's going to be bottom right, but it's a little bit wide, catching the back right of that wheel. It's a little bit more square. Might have been in. Either way, still a lot of pressure. This is Daniel just facilitating up top. Drop down. And a shot on target, even with the bumps. It's a good save by Reziers. And I was looking to clear this away. Space Station just sitting and waiting in the midfield.
So another thing that is really annoying about Space Station, I talked about their play style being annoying because they slow the ball down. They make you kind of chase after them. But the other thing, too, that I don't think we touched on too much was the physical gameplay. And that's the demos, but it's also the bumps as well. And a lot of times the bump is a lot stronger than the demo because the demo does kind of reset you and it gives you boost if you're out of boost. So the bump can be a lot stronger than the demo in a lot of cases. And I think Space Station actually do kind of master that between demos and bumps of just, you know, throwing off the rhythm of teams defensively and offensively as well, removing players from the opposition side. And Space Station, definitely one of those teams that will use the physical advantage and certainly take advantage of the space given because of it.
Yeah, you talked earlier as well in the conversation for our pre-match. It's talking about them being slow, and most of us describe it as kind of methodical. They're very decisive in how they want to approach the game. You see a prime example of it here with Arsenal. Rather than booming that downfield and trying to go for a quick shot with a redirect, he slows it down. He forces the defender in, and even though he gets dunked out, like possession still primarily stays in their favor. So very decisive in being able to play really fast and aggressive, which they definitely can do. You see that anytime they play against V1 is a double touch. Barely missing out. Could have been a goal opportunity for HEET, but for the most part, they have the ability to play both sides, and I think a lot of that credit does go to their coach in Chrome. Not afraid to mix things up and kind of play that chess match to the best of his ability. Very quick adjustments for Space Station, which makes them so tough to beat. The amount of times that this team is clutched up and won a reverse sweep is too many to count at this point.
Yeah, I think just talking about the coach too, I think Chrome definitely gets a lot of love on this team, and I don't think a lot of coaches do, but he's been on this team long enough that you can really feel his impact, right? You can attribute some of the success to Chrome because of how long he's just been on this team.
I've heard players literally say this team would not be successful without Chrome.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Which I'm not surprised by. Like, no discredit to the players. Obviously, they've got good leadership. Riddle's obviously starting to take more of that captain role seriously. Dan under a lot of guidance, and Arsenal, who's been around for a decent amount of time too, he's seen his hardships as well. So being able to kind of bring that all together with, you know, more of a matured role with Chrome. You know, he's one of the older ones in the scene, which is still extremely young in the grand scheme of things. Star pros are babies, literally called Baby Dan because he's 15. But you know, like it is a different mentality that comes with it, and that stoic personality I think really does have a strong presence for them, which makes a big difference. On the other side of HEET though, like even pretty close, still winning a lot of these challenges and being competitive. But just haven't able to find, other than a one double touch, too many good opportunities for like a solid shot to put away.
And the number of chances are slowing down for Space Station, which is good for HEET, but HEET have to find that offense, and maybe this is their chance. With 30 seconds left, they will have to start to try to force it here, because you would like to have this first game, considering 2s and 1s are going to be very tough to win. Reynolds with a second touch, and that might just solidify game 1 for Space Station as they double up their lead.
Yeah, really good follow by Reynolds. Not only does he get the dunk, but then also that small boost pad doesn't seem like a lot, but it's enough to give him a little bit extra over the top. Only 8 remaining. So again, giving a little bit of leniency as he just follows it up. And even if he's not there, you know there's going to be more in support. So it felt like a chance for HEET. Going to need to score almost immediately as they try to turn on this one. Those are the ones that I wish Foresight would actually pass across and go for a shot. These direct approaches don't really work on Space Station unless you have a bunch of demos, which I haven't been really able to find. So this one clicks down. It's gonna be Space Station with game number 1, feeling pretty confident.
Yeah.
And now we go into the adjustment phase for HEET between 1s and 2s. I think you and I are both leaning towards 2s.
Yeah, just to touch on this game one more time, though, I think for Space Station, this is a perfectly executed game.
He's so short.
he does. He looks like a mini-me of Reynolds right there next to him, like his little baby clone. But for Space Station, they don't blow out teams a lot of times, but they have full control, and they had basically controlled that entire game. I think there was one good look that HEET had from Raziers, and I think it's this right here in the replay. That was probably the best look they had all game long. So now HEET has to go into a tough decision of picking 2s or 1s. I really doubt they pick 1s. That would be crazy. I think it has to be 2s, and it's not even that great of a choice either because I think Reynolds and Arsenal are just so good.
I don't know if there's an easy pick for them at all. I mean, there's a reason why Space Station has gotten this bye and in that first seed overall, rightfully so. So looking at it, I don't think there is an easy matchup anyway across the board, but I do think 2s is probably their best bet. I think they can get into a groove. We saw how impactful Rezzers can be, but at the same time, maybe they want to lean into that. Maybe they're like, you know what, no matter what, we've got to upset them somewhere. And the 1s game with Rezzers isn't bad. He's actually a very solid player. It's just Daniel being on the other side of things is kind of where it's that uphill battle. So do you have more faith in your player versus the difficulty of the other opponent? What do you want to go into? So that's kind of the fun thing about these chess matches. And usually it's a spur of the moment decision, but it is going to be 2s, Daniel and Reynolds versus Rezzers and Parka.
Already starting off a little weird there on the kickoff. They was both faking the kickoff there. I don't know if you caught that because I know it was really quick. I thought for a second I was seeing things, but yeah, it was a double fake on the kickoff and nobody hit it. It didn't really come out to anything though. As Space Station, or excuse me, HEET elected to go for 2s, obviously, and I think that's the right choice as they might poke ahead free here early on. Raziers just poking it by the defense and HEET on board first.
Yeah, it catches one caught sleeping. That's a great touch off the sidewall, but Daniel thinks he has a little bit more time. I think he might just be low on boost as well. Can't catch up to it. So able to chase it down. It's a good start. Your first 14 seconds here for HEET. Exactly what they need to build some of that confidence. But no fix on this cook-off. Both are going to go for it. Possession control. It's a demo. It should be 2.
Something to note too, it is Daniel Reynolds for Space Station.
Yeah.
Arsenal not out here. I think a lot of people would have picked Arsenal Reynolds, but then again, you want a good 1s player also in the lineup for 2s, and so I don't blame Space Station for putting in Daniel. I think that's a great pick as well, and that's why Space Station is just so good here. They have so many options.
Yeah, Arsenal also a very talented 1s player. Back when him and AJ were kind of all the rave in ranked, people just talk about how frustrating Arsenal is to play against in 1s, but in 2s, that's actually what they've been sticking to. Reynolds and Daniel primarily through most of the qualifier as well, were what their pick was. I don't know if it's just a playstyle difference, and Reynolds does a really good job of just kind of understanding Daniel and how he wants to approach the game, or if it's like a stylistic thing. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it's kind of hard to just feel lack of confidence in any rotation you pick as long as Daniel's in it. But as of right now, getting beat to the ball, it's great recovery by Rezzers. He's been doing this all day today.
Yeah, I mean, he beat him to the ball, but really that was just fantastic recovery.
Such good recovery.
Yeah, I mean, that was just outplaying with speed there. HEET up 2-0 here in game 2, and they picked this. And so far, Raziers and Parka going to work. This was the same duo that they played against Anka. They did quite well on their comeback there. Now Space Station, they have their work cut out for them, and it will be Daniel to try and go up, but he throws a fake perfectly read from Raziers again. He's just been so great on the challenge game, if nothing else. Slowing down Space Station's the exact same thing he did with Anka as well. Just so tough for them to win that challenge game against Raziers.
I think there's a lot of that emphasis of trying to find a solo capability for Daniel, but if he keeps shutting it down, it's going to be almost impossible. So they're going to have to think of something different. Still plenty of time with 3 minutes left, just about to get something going. As it's going to be a mistake. Leaves for a wide open shot, and Daniel, is going to put that away.
Yeah, you can't. That's a free one. The space station there. I mean, this is simply Parker just missing the ball and Daniel taking advantage. I think Razier's wanted the demo as well, and with that type of rotation, you leave the net exposed as well on the miss. And Space Station, I think, happy to get one back here, but I think he definitely a lot better in the twos here than I think Space Station anticipated. Still down by 1, our Space Station, as they got to put away another to get back into this one. Daniel with a good flip past the first man, but an easy cleanup here for HEET.
Great 50 as well by Parka, winning that, so it actually goes in their favor. Could have been detrimental as Daniel goes for a fake around the other side, trying to get around it, go for a pinch. But again, positioning been pretty solid for HEET so far. A lot of early challenges, again, keeping that aggression, which worked so well for them against Anka. As an early challenge here, going to slow it down. It's a good 50, and luckily Riddles is able to get back in time, but pressure's still there. Big clear from Riddles. Should buy them a little bit of time, and
whoa,
he's actually going to just leave it. I'm surprised he let that one go.
I got to see a second look at this one for Parka. He's got 16 boost, but that's plenty to make that save. He just didn't get around it enough. I mean, he's in a little bit of a tough spot, but definitely savable there from Parka, and unfortunate that he just couldn't get back in time to feel comfortable. And Space Station now, 2 goals back, able to tie things up.
Really tough one here is Parka in a one-on-one, going to play it over the top, but early challenge does make it easy for Daniel. Keeping it close, slowing it down, flick past 1. He has enough to get to it, and it's a good 50. A lot of patience coming out from Space Station Corelli. Not afraid to just sit back and let that ball come to them, and it makes a lot of sense with how aggressive HEET's been playing. No need to force it.
Yeah, I do think it is kind of coming back to bite Space Station a few times because of how quick the challenge game is from HEET. You're seeing them kind of win a lot of these challenges a lot earlier than I think Space Station really expects them. I think Space Station are kind of looking for some respect, and HEET aren't giving it to them. They're just diving into the ball and having some very high quality challenges. And it certainly has caught off Space Station here. I think as we, have gone through 4 minutes of gameplay, Space Station have kind of gotten back into this and realized how quick HEET are on the challenge. Now Daniel trying to pick his spot off the post. It went wide. And with a minute left, we still sit tied. Reynolds now wants to take one towards the net, drops it down. Oh no, it's an own goal. Reynolds gets a second touch in the end, and it's a 3-2 lead for Space Station.
That's so tough for HEET. That's now another gift. And the read is great by Reynolds. The fact that it plays straight down. Maybe the defender just didn't expect it to come down like that and it bounced off the nose. But man, with a minute left and playing safe, Space Station's not afraid to keep it close like this. But hopefully a challenge rewards them. And it is the unfortunate read, but a great save by Space Station. A second one to clear this one out. No. Could be a chance. It's a good 50. It goes to the side. Finish. Can he get around it? He does. Great job tying it up, HEET.
Great work there from HEET. And again, just that aggression, the challenge game paying off for them here. Parka took a little bit of a heavy touch, but you could see the challenge well struck. Raziers gets some love off the post right back into his car. And HEET able to tie things up here late.
Could have been one that they run away with, but now tied up yet again. Charles in front of his own net, gonna scoop and play this one out. It's a good 50, soft touch, and not where Parker wants to be. No boost, it goes below. It's a free shot for Dan, and he's gonna slam that one away every time.
And this is such a smart play from Reynolds and Daniel to slam that one off the backboard, knowing Parker's the last man, knowing that that's a tough read to get back to, and that he would have to expend all of his boost to get there. And if he doesn't, it's a free shot for Space Station. That's great game knowledge in that 2v1 situation. Space Station back into the lead. Can HEET make another comeback?
Plenty of boost to get it around. Shot opportunity. It's on target. What a save. Great jump by Daniel. Now probably going to play it slow and hope for some 50s. But again, HEET continuing to power through. One more touch should do it. So last chance here for HEET. Need to keep it up. Need to keep it alive. It goes underneath. It's a good flick.
It's high.
It's in front of the net. Can he get there in time? He keeps it alive. It's not done yet. 0 seconds. Cleared across. And an awkward touch, but still plenty of boost. Popping up high. Trying to flick it underneath. Rezier's looking for another touch. And Dan on the back wall is going to play it down. And Space Station feels like they're going to steal game 2.
And that was really unfortunate there for HEET because Parka was set up to take the shot there, but unfortunately he didn't have any boost to chase after it. And that's really what hurt him there in the end, because they had an opportunity there right in the 0 second, keeping the ball up there. Unfortunate, but still a quality game from Space Station here to kind of get back into it. I think HEET got out to an early lead and again, kind of got a sucker punch on Space Station here, which is exactly what you need if you go up against a team like Space Station. But again, Space Station, I think you're seeing Daniel and Reynolds really start to solidify themselves and come back into this game too. And again, now HEET have to go back into a 3v3 and try and take down Space Station once again.
Yeah, going to be a tough one there as we take a look at the highlights. And it definitely felt, for the most part, HEET in control a lot of the times of winning these chances, but a couple subtle mistakes are going to be the difference maker here. And then again, this is probably the best play so far on a Space Station. It was a really good read, as you mentioned. You've got a player rotating back trying to collect pads, so they play it high. You either expend boost or you try to make like a crazy in and out save. So no matter what, you're in a tough spot. And at that point, even if you do make a save, Space Station's going to secure both your corner boosts. You're under a lot of threat. So really smart play here by Space Station to put themselves at match point, trying to close this one out in a 3-0 situation. But again, out of frame and out of focus there in the middle. Daniel, big impact across the board.
And it's just such a tough spot to be in if you're HEET, because again, the beauty of this format is it's really a vice grip from Space Station, because even if they lose this, Space Station's probably going to pick ones. And that's just not any better for HEET. So it really only just prolongs the pain for HEET here, because Daniel is such a massive threat in ones, really against any team here. And so HEET really have to dig deep, not only in this game, but games to come, as they start things off here defensively. Space Station, once again, doing a good job of putting on some pressure.
Yeah, HEET though should still feel pretty confident. They've done a really good job in their first 2 games. We're in that 3v3. They did keep it relatively close, and in game 2, honestly, they probably should have taken it. There was a couple mishaps that happened, but other than that, if they sure those up, honestly, probably would have went in their favor. So I've been happy with their challenge game and their ability to be aggressive. You see it again here, and it's going to work out. Reziers, what a place to be.
And that's perfect for HEET. A great start here. And again, the speed from Reziers. So fast, and then a fantastic dunk, of course. But again, he's done this twice now, where these flips off the sidewall have really paid off for him to keep momentum behind the ball and get down the field, even in tough situations where he doesn't have necessarily all the boost. Using just that momentum to chase after it. The challenge game, once again, paying off for HEET.
Another aggressive one. Should be able to get to this one first. Plenty of touches to make. Solid kick out. And play by both Arsenal and Reynolds, as he should get a 50. One last touch, plays it high, no follow-up. As it doesn't seem just like Two's not afraid to play it a little bit more passive in the background. HEET taking advantage of it. A lot of aggression, a lot of consecutive touches. Corelli able to beat them out. And for the most part, other than a couple breakaways, they don't seem to sustain long.
You see HEET again. Quality challenges leading to possession. This one shot back post. I think Space Station here, definitely not looking the strongest in the threes game. Even the previous threes game, game 1, I don't think they necessarily put their best effort out. I think HEET are definitely a stronger team than maybe they anticipated, especially in that 2s game as well. HEET really stuck in that one. And I think that speed, especially in the midfield, been tough for Space Station to deal with.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of the general focus. A lot of these teams in Europe, especially in that kind of bubble area, anywhere from 16 to 24, definitely have this play style where it is, you know, caution to the wind, just send the house, be as aggressive as possible. And it does catch a lot of teams off guard. And luckily for Space Station, you know, they have been on the receiving end of it, but it doesn't matter if the flick's that good. Forsay going to put that far post. And it's doing it himself too. You know, he's got a lot of space in that midfield.
Really late challenge there from Daniel. I'm surprised he even went for that, because I mean, he didn't even have the right angle coming into it. And excuse me, Forsay doing a great job of just reading that play, flicking it by. And now Space Station really hurting for a goal here.
Yeah, halfway through, and pretty much all HEET so far on the offensive half. A lot of it has been due to their aggression, how quickly they get to the ball and how quickly they get to these challenges. A lot of it is the space being enabled. You see a lot of passiveness from Space Station. The shot comes in. There should be a follow-up here just momentarily. And it's going to have to be Arsenal. Second touch, and it follows up perfectly for Dan. That's a good read. off that back wall.
And a tough one, too. And Arsenal, again, getting a great second touch. You can see Parker kind of pre-jumped it and committed to his line, and Arsenal instead passes that one. Great work there. Space Station get one back, and a much-needed goal if they want to close out this series. HEET definitely doing a good job offensively to kind of shut down Space Station. That was probably one of their best looks they've had all game. As that, again, I just keep highlighting the challenge game from HEET. Been very tough for Space Station to deal with.
Good 50s by Arsenal, and there's that disruption. Something we haven't really seen too much of, but it's not going to matter if the touch is that perfect. Daniel yet again striking nice and soft and just feathers it in.
Oh, what a bump from Arsenal. And actually, it's the bump that leads Daniel to have the space, because that last man, or at least initially the last man there, forced into the bump and then kind of bumped away, opened up the space for Daniel to take advantage of. That second touch will lead to a goal. Space Station doing a good job here, chipping away at HEET. Things cooling down for them as they started off quite hot here in game 3. A must-win situation for them. Otherwise, they're facing a 1v1 with Daniel, which is less than ideal for almost every single team, if not all of them. So HEET digging deep here for another goal, but it's Space Station threatening again.
It's going to be one of those where we get into our grand finals. It's going to be playoffs, right? And it's going to be like, all right, when you get $500,000, what's in your way? 1v1 with Daniel. They can have it. I don't,
the final boss is Daniel.
Yeah, but you imagine you playing like a video game and you see Daniel line up on the other side and be like, that's the final boss? That guy?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's just a kid. Yeah, that's what makes him so scary. Like,
yeah, I mean, the ones game, we haven't seen too many of them here today, and probably for good reason, because I think a lot of the ones players are just so much stronger than the oppositions that they don't want to go to it. We really haven't seen a lot of the series go the distance either, which would force the ones to come out, of course. Daniel can't hold on to it here. Space Station, not sure if they want to really go to overtime. I think they want to end it here. Flip reset was inbound from Arsenal, but taken away from Roziers.
yeah, really good play as well, sweeping through. Rozier's doing a phenomenal job on that late rotation. 2 demos back to back. It completely denies that play from sustaining up on offense. So a little bit of that disruption game coming out from HEET as they throw us in the middle. It's gonna be a late touch and trying to get up on the back wall to keep it alive. At this point, probably just wanting to get one last attempt as it's gonna drop down. So yet another overtime, Corelli. And honestly, HEET looking pretty dang solid.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a position that they need to be in, right? They're in a winning position here. They need one more goal, obviously. And that's just the first step, of course. But right now, it's Daniel threatening. Another shot coming through, but it's Reynolds to put it home. Everyone barreling through, and Space Station coming out on top.
Again, something that they do so well when this whole, like,